Mr. Bloxham here. We're making sourdough rolls here today. I've got 500 grams of strong flour. If you haven't got strong, you'll need to use plain. I've got my sourdough starter here. As you can see, it's all bubbly. Yeah, it's all bubbly here. You can see it's ready. It should float in some water if it's ready. So put that in there, hopefully that will float. As you can see that floating. We're going to use roughly 200 grams of this. So we're going to put it on the scales, press it to 0. And I've got some water in here as well. I'm going to take some of the water out actually just in case I don't need all that. I've got 325 water. 0. So I'm going to do 200 grams of this, 200 grams roughly of the sourdough starter. Then I've got some for another day. 200 grams. I'm going to put some salt, teaspoon of salt in the dough. So even the sweet, this is going to be sweet also, this could be sweet or sour, but teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put 2 to 3 teaspoons of sugar. Now sugar goes in the sweet one, it also helps speed it up and it helps form a golden crust as well. And this one gets stirred. Oh, this was lukewarm water by the way. You put it all in here. You can put a little bit of oil in as well, depends what sort of bread you like. So mix that up. Put most of this liquid in just in case I don't need it all. And I've got a bit more extra liquid there if I need it, yeah. So I would normally do this on the machine actually, but I know most people haven't got a machine. Some people do this on the table, so you can put it on the table and mix it on the table. Actually, that's another way to do it as well. Sometimes this is easier in a bowl though. A bit more of the liquid. This is different than normal bread. Where it's got the sourdough starter, I need to prove it in a minute for probably 2 to 3 hours or 3 hours, and then prove it. Normally it would only take 40 minutes at a time, and the second prove when I'm done the rolls. It won't take as long as bread. There'll be another 2 hours. So it'll be 4 hours from now till we can eat it really. So that's one disadvantage about the sourdough. I'm going to quickly knead it for a bit, show you how to knead it pretty much, but you'll need to knead it for about 5 minutes. I won't knead it for all that time. So scrape it all off your fingers. You want it a little bit sticky. As you knead it, it goes drier. So I'll move the scales out the way, move everything out the way, give yourself a bit of space. Scrape this all off your fingers. You can do it with the hand. Sometimes I do that, but it's quicker to, maybe easier to do that in my hand. Scrape it all off. Yeah, that was warm water, that speeds it up a little bit as well. So then for kneading, and I'm going to put it back in the bowl, a clean bowl, and either put a tea towel on it or some cling film till it's doubled in size. So if it's a little bit sticky, you don't put too much flour on the table. That's a bit of a mistake that people do. And to knead it, we have it long like that. We turn it round with the palm of your hand. Turn it round so you're spinning it round. You're stretching the gluten in it and help feeding the yeast. Yeah, the natural yeast that we've made with the starter. So on my other video, you'll be able to see how to make the sourdough starter. This one here, I'm going to put some more flour and water in it, 50 grams of each, and then that'll be enough for another day. So that's what you can do. If you don't want to use it for a few days, you can just put it in the fridge, it gets dormant, take it out and put some more flour and water in it. So kneading this, as you can see, starting to go a bit smooth. But I'm going to knead that for another 5 minutes, put it in a bowl, cover it with a cloth, and then you're going to come back in 2 hours time. Thank you. We proved the sourdough now. This will be in about 2 to 3 hours. As you can see, it's at least doubled inside. We're going to do a thing called knock it back now. This takes a lot longer than normal bread, which I'm going to make some normal bread tomorrow with yeast, but this one was the sourdough. So there's some bits in here, so I'm hoping always to get it all out. So this would make one piece. This is 500 grams of flour in here, plus some of the sourdough starter. We're going to make rolls today with this. So the first thing I'm going to do, quite stretchy still, considering it's been relaxing. We're going to cut it up into quite a few. We should get maybe a dozen rolls out of this or so. But I'm going to do a plat and some other shapes, so you can all have a go at trying the different shapes. And I'm going to have a go at a six a plat with 6 rather than 3. So that goes 3, so we throw that in there, that's 6. I'm going to cut these in half, even more than that actually. I reckon I can even more. These would be quite big rolls, these would be. Then when I do the plat, I'll do some smaller ones. So you have to make, this is quite hard, my year 10 pupils find this quite hard. We're going to make them nice and round first. As you can see, they're not very good shape. So we go round and we have to push down really hard, come up slowly, and we get it nice and smooth. And again, and the pupils never manage to do this, or very rarely. Can do 2 hands, not so good with my right hand. We have to push down quite hard, like so. In a lot of bakers, they sort of have machines to do this. Even in the Navy, in 1980 something, I was on the Intrepid there, you rolled a piece out about this big and put it under, and it actually did the rolls for you. You don't need too much flour, but you do need a tiny bit if it's a bit sticky. Most people put too much flour on the table here and it won't work. So push it round, come up slowly, and you get it nice and round. It should look nice and smooth. Round, look nice and smooth. So I'm just going to keep those there for a minute, and I'm going to make some different shapes. So the first thing, before you do anything else, you need to make it round first. Then we're going to make loads of long ones. So just make a few long ones, and we have to try and make them even. So as I do it, I'm coming outwards, but you need to put quite a bit of pressure down. Do not use too much flour, otherwise it doesn't work, that's for sure. And then there's a bit of trial and error this. This is something you have to practice rather than just watch me. So as I do it, it shrinks back. You know, the gluten's still quite strong there. Seeing it's been to about 3 hours, it's amazing the gluten hasn't relaxed that well. Roughly even. This one, as you can see, is fatter here, so we need to make it a bit more even. There we go. And we're going to make some different shapes. And then prove them again, and then we're going to cook them. Normally bread only takes 40 minutes to prove. This is probably going to be about 2 hours to prove. Normally I'd prove it in here, but I'm going to prove the first time. First we'll wrap it with cling film for a bit and prove it for at least an hour. Then I'm going to put it in the hot thing, in the grill without it being on. But normally I would put it straight in there. So we can make a knot, so we need it quite long, nice and even, and then we just tie it in a normal knot. That one goes on the tray. That one's a bit long there, so we take that bit off. The next thing is we're going to make an S. We're going to make a C, so it's a little bit sticky this, so we'll put a little bit of flour on here. And we're going to make a C with this one. Now I've put a little bit too much flour and that's gone a bit, not quite thin enough, so it'll look a bit neater. Now it's not rolling. The reason it's not rolling is I put too much flour, so I'm going to leave that one there for a minute. And I'm going to make it longer because it will look neater if it's long. So as you can see, it's well over 1 foot long. Yep, definitely don't make it. Then this one I'm going to make into a C, it will look neater. You can't do every letters, but it's good because it looks back to sort of like one type of roll. We can make a snail. Just roll it up. Sometimes this falls down, so it might not actually work, that one, because it sometimes falls down, obviously. We're going to cut a little bit off this one. We're going to make a little cottage loaf, mini cottage loaf. See, it falls down already there. So if there one ever falling down. Put one big one on a small one, the small one on the big one. Normally put a little bit of flour on it. Do it with your thumb or your finger. That's a little mini cottage loaf. Or a little snowman. Normally actually the top one, yeah, I'm going to just leave that there because I think the snail's going to fall over actually. We're going to do another one of them because I think I've done it, the top one looks a little bit big. So round, push it down. Another round one on top. Normally put a bit of flour on your thumb and just push your thumb in there. That looks a bit better, that one there.